So today I want to talk about Leon ONeal, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about Texas A&M safety Leon ONeal sticking his name into the transfer portal. And I would really like it if Leon ONeal and his Twitter account ended up in the Big 12, whether that be Texas, Baylor, or Oklahoma. I need Chris Ash, I need Dave Aranda, I need Alex Grinch to get on the horn and see about what was the number 8 overall player in the state of Texas, the number 8 player at safety in the 2018 class, and a guy that Oklahoma wanted in the worst way, and a guy I think would fit into the culture at Oklahoma. Now, the thing about Leon is Leon has lots to say, and I'm here for everything Leon has to say because many times via his Twitter account, he's making some pretty good points. Man will make a pretty good sports talk radio host. Also says things like, I'm the best safety in the country, and then puts his name in the portal. To which, I gotta know what the story is with that, dog. I gotta know why you put your name in the portal if you're the best safety in the country, because people are gonna say you didn't want to compete, or people are gonna say Texas A&M oversigned. Either one, either or, I don't care. I'm interested in this because Oklahoma has had a tremendous need at safety for going on about 3 years, really, dating back to 2017. Haven't been able to figure it out. Looked like there were times when it was figured out with Delarian Turner-Yell and Patrick Fields at safety for Grinch when they both played well. And the safety play in Grinch's defense is so important that you could draw a straight line from Delarian Turner-Yell's performance to the performance of the defense, the strong safety. When DTY got burnt, Oklahoma was in trouble. When trouble was coming down and making tackles, Oklahoma got 9 sacks against Texas and was holding teams to a ridiculous points per game. I mean, we're talking about an Alex Grinch defense that already got a touchdown better in defense than it was underneath Mike Stoops. But I'm fascinated by this because coming out of Cypress Springs, ONeal was known. 78 tackles as a prep senior, 5 forced fumbles. He liked to hit people. Against really great competition at A&M, he showed up, right? Having like 5 tackles against Clemson, having like 6 against Georgia. He's played in almost every game he's been eligible for, notably on special teams as a true freshman, but then working his way into a role on the defense, the same Texas A&M defense that went and beat Oklahoma State in the Texas Bowl. Now, we could talk about what it means for Oklahoma State to be in the Texas Bowl with A&M, or we could talk about whether or not A&M can just hemorrhage this kind of talent, or what it would mean if ONeal decided to come play in the Big 12 as opposed to anywhere else, because I need to underscore this. The Big 12 might be the 3rd best conference in all of college football. And if ONeal were to join it, I think he makes it better. And I think he vaults into an all Big 12 kind of performer as opposed to just another safety in the SEC. And I would point to Jalen Hurts' performance at Oklahoma as one example of that. We don't have too many good examples of an SEC player, all SEC caliber player going into the Big 12. We have many of others that might turn out to be okay, but we expected great things from some guys that are transferring in and others we haven't seen much of. So Jalen Hurts gets to Oklahoma, passes for over 3,800 yards, rushes for nearly 1,300 yards, and is responsible for 52 touchdowns when he was going to be the backup at Alabama, right? Tua Tagovailoa was just that much better. Now, it's open to debate about whether or not Jalen Hurts would have been backing up Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield. I think he would have been, right? But I also think that he wasn't the best quarterback in the Big 12 last year. When Charlie Brewer was healthy, I believe it was him. And we saw some really great play from Brock Purdy, who was keeping up with Hurts' passing statistics and really just lacked his ability as a runner. And that's what separates, right? That's why Jalen Hurts was the best player in the Big 12 last year, just all around, and why he was a Heisman finalist. You can also throw in there his very unique journey in college football. But when we're talking about the SEC, we're talking about the NFL, we're talking about elite, right? We're talking about 93 combine invites of a possible 337. coming from the SEC. We're talking about LSU having 16 by its lonesome. That's 4 times as many as Oklahoma was able to put into the NFL Combine, right? We're talking about Alabama having 10, Georgia having 10. So I would understand if ONeal wanted to transfer within the conference, even if it's Kentucky, because Kentucky put out 2 invites to the Combine, and they're not necessarily that good, right? Arkansas put out like 4. So maybe you would want to end up there as well. I think ONeal would land well at Arkansas, but I also think that they're really good at safety with Jalen Catalon and with Miles Slusher coming in as a true freshman, but he might be able to beat out the true freshman with experience. I don't think he's going to be eligible to play right away unless the NCAA rule change that would allow 1 transfer for free with no penalty across all of the sports goes into effect by the time he decides to make his decision, which I would expect to be around June, right? If indeed he doesn't go back to Texas A&M if they want him. But he's an interesting prospect, and at a position of need for many places, I would like to see ONeal get a shot to play starting safety at a program where he's probably going to play for conference championships and maybe even in a national semifinal. A&M just ain't been that good. And coming out of the SEC West, that's not a slight. That's just the SEC West. That's Alabama. That's Auburn. That's LSU. You got some work to do, A&M, and that's not shade. That's just what it is. But going to Arkansas, as I mentioned, you're going to play, but are you going to play on a good football team? Probably not for a couple of years. You go to Oklahoma, going to play, and probably going to be on a good football team for the next 2 years of your eligibility. So this is all going to be a lot of fun to watch work out. But I think ONeal is a player, and for the folks that say that ONeal is mouthy, Baker Mayfield's mouthy, Justin Burrell's is mouthy. We're mouthy over here in Oklahoma. We talk a lot of noise. I think he fits right in. And the first time he makes a scoop and score, the first time he picks off an interception, every OU fan would be in on him, period, right? It's the same thing with Buki. If Buki comes in 2020 and has 7 interceptions, nobody is going to talk noise about him anymore because it's really fickle that way. But wherever ONeal decides to end up, I'm going to root for him because I like the kid's moxie. I like kids that have confidence, and I like kids that can back it up. And ONeal, at least coming out of high school, was one of those guys that could absolutely do that. All right, that's it for me. Doses.